Hey everybody, it's Gomedex, and welcome back to another traditional draft of Through the Omenpaths, the newest Magic set. This is the Magic Arena in-universe equivalent of the paper Spider Man set. Pretty controversial, pretty disliked set, and the viewership across all of YouTube is way down for that on everybody's channels, so probably won't be doing too many more of these drafts, but I do want to sprinkle them in here and there for those of you who do care about keeping up to date with the latest set. So, with that spiel all out of the way, let's get into this draft. This pack one, pick one, we've got a lot of different ways to go here. My favorite being Clutter Cluster plus Leyline Weaver. I think both of these are just exceptional green cards, and because of the hybrid value of Leyline Weaver, that's a super flexible one, and we get to have both of our picks just be in one color to start us off. There's also great removal out of black with Damning Caress. So we could take like Damning Caress Death Flame Burst towards Rakdos or something, although that is the weakest of the supported archetypes. I think Clutter Cluster Leyline Weaver is the safest way to start this draft off. There's also the argument that if you love the blue-white modified deck, you could take like Kuminosu and something else there. But I'm just going to start off with a nice double spider super green pick to start off. One thing I also do want to mention here, before we get massively deep into this draft, is that this is a traditional draft, which means that we will be playing best of 3 rounds, 3 best of 3 rounds, no matter how well the deck does. However, they have finally adjusted the traditional drafts to play the exact same way during drafting as any other pick 2 draft. It is a 4-player pod. Everybody is taking 2 cards at a time. That is the one way that they are allowing Through the Omenpaths drafts to be drafted on Arena. So no more 8-player pods. Which is a little sad for players like me, but anyways. Gallant Citizen's fine here if we go green-white, and then Chizak is a good top-end finisher. The other option is to go Chizak and Razorkin, try to hop into the green-red archetype. Razorkin is probably my favorite red card out of anything I can think of in the whole set. I'm sure there are stronger rares. However, again, red is the weakest color, and we can stay just hopped in on just a single color there by going Citizen and Chizak. Here's a Clutter Cluster, which is great, and if we can go for the green-white deck, then Serena Bargain Spinner can be really good value, as long as we find any decent auras and equipments to go with her. So we'll grab that. There are several really powerful rares that synergize with this. There's, like the Green Goblin's Glider, which is like some flying wings thing. There's Doc Ock's Tentacles, which is some helmet thing. And then the best one is there's an aura in white that is a 4-mana aura you enchant on a land. It gives you 3/1/1 tokens, and you can tap it and give somebody +X for X number of creatures you control. That one's really, really good with Serena. I'm really happy to see a Leyline Weaver still here for our pick 4. We are in a great spot to draft green. Our secondary color's still a little bit open. We'll play green-red if we have to, if white is super cuts. But if we can get decent white, then I will be very happy to go green-white as the strongest archetype in the sets. And the Citizen, again, playing really well in that deck. I actually think we have enough 2-drops already, having 5 2-mana creatures this early in the draft, to just take double fixing there. A little speculative, but fine. Does look like we're likely to end up green-red here, the way things have been going. The only white card we've really seen late at all has been Serena. Now get one of those cruel caracols anyway. Okay, what have we got here? So, Diligent Webkeepers is incredible. Whether or not you're playing white, the hybrid mana value makes it really easy to cast. 5 mana for 4/3, putting a counter on your entire board. Cheering Crowd's pretty fun as well. I mean, it benefits both players, but you're the one who gets the big creature out of the deal while getting all that mana. It's a very interesting card. I don't have any removal yet, so Perilous Lunge is actually somewhat high on the list. And there is a chance, like, if your main color is open enough, you can play off color. You don't have to have access to great multicolored spells. We could go green-black here, take like Damning Caress, and play an off-color archetype. I think I'm just going to go for the Cheering Crowd here. The other thing about this card is it's mono-green, just like the Webkeepers is. So even if it is a bit of a double-edged sword, giving your opponent some mana as well, it is, definitely making the cut because it's in the one color that we're 100% to play. Okay, we got a Wisecrack for removal out of red, Damning Crest for removal out of black. There's a blue counterspell here, and there's a Zan, a Web Slinger in the main color that also fixes our mana. So Zan is the only guaranteed pick. I think double hybrid red cards here. We'll just take the Wisecrack here and try to see if red-green is the path to take. Red did seem pretty open during pack 1. Even if it is the weakest color, it will give us access to multicolor uncommons and stuff, and that will make it worth it over trying to draft white when we're getting past absolutely nothing in white. So now Favored Fighter. This card is slam dunk in this deck. Very, very good curve outs with the Leyline Weaver. And then Kazuo's fine top end. Also plays well with Favored Fighter, giving us the treasure towards the Kazuo. Shock is actually kind of mediocre in this set. A lot of like 3 toughness and up stuff. But it's certainly better than the other red cards. And then we just take like 1 green trick. We have so many 2-mana creatures already. Surprisingly, just all good on that front. Usually that's an area where I find myself struggling moving into pack 3. I'm like, oh no, I need a few more 2-drops. Not the case. Not the case today at all. We're doing great on creatures. We just need the interaction. A little bit more mid-rangey creatures, some 3s and 4s would be nice. But the primary thing we're looking for is removal to get things out of the way. Okay, there's a terrific team up, exactly what we're looking for. Great efficient removal spell. We can cast it for only 2 mana in the late game. Close up whatever we need it to. We could try to splash in a Mothwing Shroud off of Vibrant Cityscape, Zan, Treasure Token off of Favored Fighter, and in a pinch, we have a Treat Trolley we could shove in. That said, the speculation is missing out on a genuinely great card for this deck. Favored Fighter for those Leyline Weaver into Favored Fighter curves. If Favored Fighter weren't here, I would certainly take Shroud over a second Kazuo or any of these red creatures, but I think Favored Fighter gets the nod here. What a pack for us. We just get hooked up with the double rare, one of which is a removal spell that we're lacking. I don't get to take double removal here, taking a Trail of Teacups and Deathflame Burst, because there's a second rare that's great for this deck, Demera. But man, I am happy about this. Yeah, I mean, we have 7 spiders. This may be a tiny bit low for Demera, but the floor of this card, the worst case scenario is a 2-mana 2/2 on curve. So like as long as you play a single spider, this card's great. You get 2 spiders out after playing it, you're living the dream. And that is absolutely a possibility for this deck with at least 7 spiders in here. All right, we're doing great here, getting all the removal we need. We've already got a mansion and a cityscape, so I think we can afford to take a Wisecrack and a Supportive Parents. Again, filling out that kind of mid-range mana cost here. Nothing at 3 yet. Like, if our opening hand does have a Leyline Weaver, sure, I'll be skipping over 3s, going straight to Favored Fighters, but not every opening hand is going to have one of our 2 Leyline Weavers. Oh my god, now we can take Dreadfang and Favored Fighter because we got enough removal in the end. We have terrific team up, Trail of Teacups, double Wisecrack, and a Shock if necessary. That is 4.5 removal spells, 4 into Shock basically. Another Kazuo probably doesn't make the cut for legend rule purposes, and then Kefon also quite filler, but whatever, take the on-color stuff. Another Favored Fighter definitely makes the cut actually. This cat goes in the sideboard. We'll just play 4 Favored Fighter all day. Leyline Weaver into Favored Fighter every single game. Nah, that's not true. I only have 2 Weavers. I'll definitely be playing a Favored Fighter every game. And obviously green-red is open, so we get the Savage Mansion to wheel anyway. There was a chance that it wouldn't, because that late in the draft, somebody could just hate draft it. But that makes our pick of not taking the mansion earlier just objectively great for us. Not so sure about the Spider Coach here on 7 spiders. I have a metric boatload of 2-mana creatures right now. Cut the filleriest ones. Definitely not the mana dorks like Weaver and Shearing Crowd. Definitely not Demera. Citizen actually goes a little later on the curve on average, because we're not going to have double forest in the opener all the time. So that leaves Lizards and Caracals as the most filler. This does look like a really good Lizards deck. Not a very good Caracals deck. We're probably tapping out the vast majority of the time, not having the mana up to be using this as a combat tricky thing. But we have 4 Favored Fighter, Zan, Chizak, Kazuo, Webkeepers. Clutter Cluster, I guess, is a nombo, because we enweb this for 6 mana, but technically we're still casting a 2 mana value spell, so Lizards will not trigger off that, I think. Yeah, the spell itself is mana value 2, even if it's being enwebbed for 6. This cares about the mana value of the spell itself, not the mana spent to cast it. Which means that it's a good combo with Terrific Team Up, where even if I cast this for the reduced only 2 mana, that'll trigger. But it's bad combo with Clutter Cluster, where if I cast it for the 6, the spell's mana value is still 2. Okay, well, let's just cut the cats immediately. And then probably just leave both the lizards in, because we want to cast Clutter Clusters at 6 most of the time. They'll be flexible and give us more 2-drops when we need them, but most of the time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2-drops looks great to me. Creature count here is on 19, so we still want to cut a couple more creatures. I don't hate cutting a Gallant Citizen when it becomes more mid-rangey and is not a consistent 2-drop for the deck. Yeah, I think I want all of our 4 mana plus stuff to be genuinely 4 plus for lizards. Team Up also cares. Still gotta cut one more creature. I could cut a Clutter Cluster for Legend Rule. Well, if I draw 2 copies of this, I get to start attacking with the first copy aggressively, and if it ever dies, then I get to cast the second copy, and if it doesn't die, then it will be tapped, and I can return that copy to my hand to play the other one to then make spiders. Yeah, this kind of gets around the Legend Rule pretty well. I'll keep the Clutter Cluster. Both of them. Yeah, so we'll cut 1 fighter. 3 is still plenty, I think. This looks pretty good to me. But now we do need to cut some non-creature spells. This will be the 17 creature deck. Yeah, I think I agree with my initial cuts. Just drop all that in a shock. If I want to bring anything back in, we can cut like one of these Grow Extra Arms to play one of these. Spider Coach might be the closest to coming back, but I'm perfectly happy with the combat trick in a nice aggressive curve deck like this. Just slamming in for damage. Drop those. Double check our mana base. 20 green cards and 7 red. We're on 10 green sources and Evolving Wilds and 8 red sources. Seems great to me. You can probably go 11-7 here even. The only cards in this deck that require red mana are Dreadfang, Double Wisecrack, and Kazuo. I do need double red for Kazuo, so that is something. What if we change this deck up here? If we cut Dreadfang and Kazuo, we could make it so the only cards in the whole deck that need red mana are cards that we're fine to play later. The Double Wisecrack we can cast later in the game to blow up whatever kind of creature we need to get rid of. I actually like making the mana base really easy by just dropping anything that requires red remotely early. Bringing in, we just cut 2 creatures, so we can bring the Favored Fighter back in. We're at 16 creatures again. I could put the cats back in, but I could also bring in like a Scout the City against flyers, or Gallant Citizen for some draw. Or the Shock as well as a card I'm happy to play later. Get rid of the Shocker, bring in the Shock. Maybe Spider Coach. A lot of fine options. I'll run the Citizen, see if I can get lucky with some web slinging. And now we are going to be deeper on green as well, since we only need red for the 2 wisecracks. Can make it so those gallant citizens actually get cast real consistently. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red sources in the lands, as well as 2 Leyline Weavers that tap for red and 4 favored fighters that give us a treasure for only 2 copies of Wisecrack. Yeah, this seems more than good enough here. For the red, the supportive parents as well can get a mana of any color. Sick. Alright, it's going to be a fun one here. We got almost completely mono green spider beatdown. We'll see how it plays out for us as we head into round number 1. Here we are now for round number 1. We've got Solid Man in the opening hand, the 2-drop Citizen into the 4-drop Favored Fighter to get us going. We are on the draw here. And Trail of Teacups is the first draw off the top for the removal spell. Playing against Black-White. They likely opened up Mr. Negative or the Spot, one of the random Black-White rares, as that is not one of the supported color pairs in terms of commons and uncommons. They could be blue-white-black, playing some blue-white spells and some blue-black spells. Clandestine work. Surveil 2, draw 2, lose 2 life. Fortunately, we've drawn... I should have played my tap land. Clicked too fast. Unfortunately, we've only drawn lands and 4 drops, so not really punishing them for not getting on the board until turn 4. Here's a favored fighter and a pass. They've got a Chaldea Brawlers down now. One gives Menace off of discard, so it works with the Mayhem ability. Damning Caress, sure, you're going to need a lot of those against this deck. The full team of favored fighters. I don't think I need to trail the brawlers this early. Favored fighter. Keep as much untapped mana as I can so I could team up without cracking all my treasures. Estly, a flyer, giving another card flying for the turn. They've got 1 mana left. 3 cards in hand. Focus for 3. Okay. I think I need to end step team up. We draw Clutter Cluster though. Well, that would have made end step team up actually pretty worth it. Okay. Let's go trail and team up instead. Wow, I milled entirely spells. That is a little rough. Got team up for 2, so let's hold up 2 without spending our treasures. And then we'll web sling the cluster, picking up the citizen. That would have been a super, super strong turn if we had end step. Terrific team up to the Estly. Then attack both, pick up the citizen, play the cluster with it. I guess I could still do that if I sacked all my treasures. That probably would be worth it, but I'm playing pretty greedy. Trying to retain maximum value for a rainy day. Also concerned what they could have for 1 black at instant speed, but if I remember right, there's not really anything in the set. Nominal value. Then we're about to draw another card off of the Trail of Teacups, bringing something back from grave. Which includes the second Clutter Cluster. We could just start looping Clutter Clusters together. If we can get them through. And it's mainly Clutter Cluster favored fighter. We each have enough mana now. I could also just take the Cheering Crowd. Get 1 counter every turn. Until it's too big. And then I could also use the tons of floating mana on Savage Mansion Surveils. Yeah, I don't mind the Cheering Crowd here. However, if I pick up a Clutter Cluster, they have to trade off their 4-power lifelinker. Or they know that I get to unweb the Clutter Cluster with Favored Fighter. Which they definitely don't want to happen here. Each player's first main phase. I could pick up another Favorite Fighter as well. Yeah, I mean, on their board they don't have a way to buff these things up, so the first one ends up trading off and then the second one just starts getting through. And that happens immediately versus the Cheering Crowd having to wait 3 turns before I can attack with it, really. I suppose another issue with the Cheering Crowd is we both start taking the mana off of it. They could start draining life with Enforcers. Makes racing a lot harder. Another 4/3 is big enough on this board to be pretty significant. If I attack all, Enforcers can eat at 2/1, put them at essentially 7. With them at 7, block there, take 4, 5, 6. If they have an instant speed removal in hand here, attack all is really bad. This is the safest attack. If they don't have anything in hand, it forces the Enforcer's trade. Does not force the Brawler's chump. And we got a Scorpion Sting here. Alright. Yeah, attack all could have been very bad for me. Oh yeah, it would have been miserable. We basically lost our entire board. Most expensive card we can draw in this deck is 6 mana. There's 1 6-drop and a 5-drop left in there. If I spend 4 mana and tap a mansion, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll still have 5 up, which means I play an untapped land. I'll still have 6 mana and still cast anything in my deck after 1 upkeep scry. Perfected Pastry from our opponent. Draw a card. That +1/+1 counters on the brawlers is really bad for us. Stops our attacks here. And lets the enforcers sit there and start draining life. Halfway through their deck, they've only milled 1 land, so they're at 7 lands halfway through. Hopefully, the utility of us having surveil lands and them not having them. Make sure we win the top deck war here. Oh boy. Is that a draw? Happens on attack. While they eat this for free and they're at 15. Trade there. 15 minus 6, 7, 8, 7 life. That's still around. What if they eat 2 things for free? They eat that for free and eat that for free. And they're at 15 minus 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They're at 4. But both of those are still around. That gains more life on future blocks. Chunky lifelinkers always make the combat math so difficult. Make swings deceptively bad for us. But we got rid of the life drainer here. And now we can start just plunging in. Sack 1 web keepers to get a ton of damage in. Or we can get Mythic Rare bombed out. This is a draw 2. Life totals are essentially the same. 15 and 13 are comparable. But this lets them get the draw 2 because we're technically lower on life. And now they have a 5/5 lifelinker to hit through. Well, that just turned a very winning game into a pretty bad one. That was just an excellent top deck for our opponent. Lurking Lizard's not going to do it. Excuse me? I thought I had enough to do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have had the mana to activate again. 1 mana there, 1 mana there, 2 other untapped lands and 1 Savage Mansion. I have to keep manually putting my upkeep stop as well. Missed the upkeep scry. Yeah, that mill 5 spells at the start of the game has really caught up with us. Off of the trail. Which you just hit so many lands even with double surveilling going on. I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm low enough on removal, I might just mill out. Well, there's the wisecrack that we're looking for. So maybe not. Wisecrack is such an awkward removal spell against lifelinkers because the life gain. If they didn't gain any life there, this would be dead on board. But they probably have a spell in hand. I guess that's 1 damage off dead on board. Against the... Oh wait, no, it was enough. Yeah, -1 there. They'd be at -1 instead. Wait, no, it was a 4/4 that they just killed. So it would have been exactsies. If they didn't gain... No, they gained 5. So they would be at -1 instead of at 4 without gaining 5. Yeah. Okay, still get there. They did finally find that land clump, I imagine. They were probably just holding a bunch of lands in the end. Savage Mansion OP, thank you very much for digging for our stuff while they got stuck on lands, because they did not get to run their Ominous Asylum onto the board for them to surveil. I don't love this matchup. We've got some stuff that's beefy enough to make Knife Trick and Scorpion Sting awkward on occasion, which is nice. But they still have like Spectacular Tactics and Damning Crest. That Withar is going to be a huge deal. The gigantic lifelinker, and then getting any counters in the Enforcers is big too. Not much we can really do about that. We don't really have much of a sideboard going on here. If we play against somebody with a bunch of really good flyers, we can bring in Scout the City. This is not that matchup though. So we'll run it back. A weird draw. That's so unfortunate. Webkeepers really needs creatures on board to do anything. It's very good if we just slam down some creatures, but this hand has 2 removal spells in Webkeepers. I think we need to try to be aggressive and try to curve out in general, let alone when we have Webkeepers in hand. I don't think I can keep this. So awkward. It's almost the same hand. 1 creature in Webkeepers. But I'm not molding a 5. There's that lifelinking Merciless Enforcers. Cityscape and thin a land out next turn. I suppose, seeing as we saw Scorpion Sting from our opponent, there could have been an argument to just do nothing this turn, just play the Cityscape out. But we'd actually have to wait till 4 mana. Yeah, probably not. If we could get the cost reduction on Grow Extra Arms on Demera, then I'd probably wait to cast her till turn 3, but I'd have to wait till turn 4 to hold up Grow Extra Arms, because she's actually not a spider herself, strangely enough. Yeah, she's Mary Jane. Oh. I don't remember seeing any Flyers game 1, but they have arrived. What a depressing Webkeepers. We got 1+1/+1 counter. We did the thing. Tethix, Gift of Malice. We have not drawn any removal this game, so that is going to be a massive issue. Or not. Find it just on time. This also helps our race here. For 10. They crack back with lifelink. I don't think we win this race, but I don't think we have much of a choice but to try. Just don't have any other action in my hand, no way to stop the Flyers at the very least. Maybe swing 1, hold the other back so they can't just like Tethix counters onto the lifelinker and swing here was the play. I just play another Tethix. Gross. Go for lethal here in the sky. Yep. Pastry will make it 6 damage in the sky. That's going to be game. Be 1-1 in round number 1 here. I mean, there's not much we could do here. We just had some very bad hands in this game. We have 9 2-drops in this deck. And we started with a opening hand of 2 removal spells and a 5-drop. And then drew into a 3-drop and a 5-drop was the hand. So, like, what are you going to do? Pretty rough openers and rough draws. But we'll be on the play for game 3. And if we draw just a nice curve out hand, like is expected with the curve, just with a massive amount of 2-drops, just playing a 2-drop, a 2-drop, and then a 3 or a 4 on turn 4, we should have a great chance of winning this match. As long as we can draw some of these bajillion creatures for this final game of Magic, especially being on the play. So let's head back in there and see how we wrap round 1 up. And there you go. Yep. Start with our gorgeous cityscape and pass. Double cluster theoretically awkward, but they can loop each other if we get really far ahead. And if we don't, it's easy for them to just block and kill the first one to let me play the next. Whee! I guess it doesn't matter. I could respond to them tapping Weaver by getting mana out of it. Yeah, that was the right play. I was confused at first. Gloria! Oh, come on. It puts a counter every attack, right? I can only play the card this turn, so they just hit for 3 here. But that is a very powerful card. As is Cheering Crowd. Okay. I would like to clutter here to try to stop Gloria shenanigans. And I guess we'll see for sure whether Enwebbing counts as 4 mana value or more. I don't think so. The mana value is still 2. Even if we're technically casting it for much more. Yeah. Does not untap the Weavers. Leyline Weaver of their own. We don't really have attacks through here. Cheering Crowd is currently beneficial to both players. I do not love that. It's still early enough they could definitely be using some Cheering Crowd mana. But the game plan might just be go monumentally wide. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, they're not taking the mana anyway. That is purely an aggressive card, but it's very good with Gloria because it modifies a creature. Creatures with equipment on them are modified as well. And then Generous Betty. So their deck is just like 3-color good rare stuff. Gloria and Mr. Negative style stuff got them into this trio. We obviously always put the counter on. Our other clutter cluster is going to die to the legend rule here, no matter what anyway. So I might as well try to sneak something in with it. That's an insanely bold block. I'm surprised we got no value off that. Well, I'm not that surprised we didn't get any value off it. I'm more surprised they blocked with Gloria over, like, Basil. One, two, three, four blockers. Block of 4, block of 4, block of 2, block of 2, take 10, 11. Make it 12. See if Citizen draws anything. If it draws one of our +4/+4s, we almost definitely got it here. But I do think they have like at least one instant speed removal spell. They have 2 other cards in hand and didn't play anything that turn. They just equipped. Okay, well, the spot we're in, go for it. If they don't die here, we're in a horrific spot. They have gigantic lifelinking counterattacks with Betty. I think their odds of dying are quite high. Don't think I can justify not sending this. Game 2, I believe, is not enough. Not quite enough. And so we are 2-1. That is a victory in round 1, heading into round number 2. Alright, here we are on the play, starting off round number 2. This is a sick hand. Let's lead with the cheering crowd. It leads into a turn 3 favored fighter. We have no spiders in this hand for Demera anyway. They are not going to take the cheering crowd mana. They're going to Scorpion Sting it. They could have taken the mana, even if they didn't need it. Just done a 1-mana Scorpion Sting there instead. If I top deck a land, I'd rather have played Lizards first than Support of Parents. But if I don't hit the land by playing Parents now, next turn I can play Lizards and Demera by tapping the 2 of them. Also more mana efficient, which is generally good. Carlo is spooky. We didn't draw land, so objectively correct play. Yeah, Carlo's gonna get a hit here. Connived and Villains enter, so Carlo hitting us doesn't give them like card draw or anything, so we can just take the damage. Crest Demera, that's fine. I have 0 spiders in hand, so I think that's currently our least important creature. And here's Favored Fighter. thanks to Support of Parents, which is our most important creature. Bane marked Leon and a Death Toucher. Be hard to justify shooting that instead of Carlo, considering Carlo's already going to be a 3-4 menace here. Wow, their deck is scary. Oscar is hungry for great rare removal as well. Good graveyard abilities like Arala. Where are my lands, though? Where are my lands, though? Trigger both the lizards. At this point, our best bet if we don't hit mana might be finding an outrace here, which does involve killing Leonin instead of Carlo, which I just said I didn't want to do. Get Parents out of reach of oh, what am I talking about? This is a temporary buff, not a +1/+1 counter. It doesn't really matter what I choose as long as I choose creatures that are going to attack this turn. I was going to say I could try to get Parents out of reach of Scorpion Sting, but that would be only if it makes +1/+1 counters, which it does not. Treat Trolley. Make a Favored Fighter a 1/1, and no attacks. Full defense now. Our deck is very good against Heightened Mundanity. Good Clutter Cluster right now. I just tap my whole board, pick up Favored Fighter and Clutter Cluster. But I really like our Lurking Lizard's attack here, by just dropping a Favored Fighter first. It's a 4/6, they have 5 power. And the hold on the Clutter Cluster value. This also makes it so I probably don't have to tap literally my whole board to do it, like I would have had to do this turn. Because now I have an extra treasure token, so I only have to tap 2 creatures currently. If I top deck another land, then I wouldn't even have to crack the treasure. Aconius is busted. Just Oblivion Ring on a stick. You win some, you lose some. We have the counter for Heightened Mundanity, but Conius is still going to be very, very good removal. If we top deck our other Clutter Cluster, we kind of have the loop, the infinite. 2 different Clutter Clusters with the Parents to tap them turn over turn. That would be awesome. Give me green, you 2. I guess I'm not attacking with this Lizards, because it's not getting buffed by the Web Sling, but still. They trade Conius off here. I get a Lurking Lizards and they get the robot thing. The robot thing that also gives them 2 flyers. I think I might want to chill for a second, try to just get a lethal wide board, rather than letting them get Mastery back with Conius. They've only got 2 cards in their hand. They do have a gain 3 on board off the food token. But in theory, on board after casting a Favored Fighter, they block Lurking Lizards, Favored Fighter, and Support of Parents and take 6. But they take 6 and gain 3. So they still survive at 3 life. Multiple of their blocks are quite good. Okay, second bomb rare has hit the building. It's not good. Was the Death Toucher their best creature in Grave? I guess it was. Okay. Still pretty dang bad for us, but not as horrific as it could have been. Hello. Good grief. Do I even have attacks after playing that? Against this board? I guess the favored fighter trade is like the same. With or without the extra counter. Trades into one of those too. Maybe I just play the first favored fighter first, actually. And we see if we trade into Conius and then get another creature pre doing that. Nah, they have a really good block for lizards. They can just go 3-4 and 3-3 on it. I should have saved Favorite Fighter for post-combat, so I could play it after Lurking Lizards, instead of the other way around. But I assumed that the +1/+1 counter on the Lurking Lizards would have mattered here, and it didn't. I don't get attack off lizards by playing Favorite Fighter pre-combat, so that was a pretty big miss. We missed the counter on the second Lurking Lizards. Alright, Robotics Mastery doesn't give flying. It does give them 2 1/1 flyers, but whatever they put it on doesn't get flying or anything. There's a Zan. Just grind out a long one here, I think. With how wide their board's going to be this turn, we definitely don't have lethal right now. So I can just loop in Webbers. Keep getting lizards counters, keep getting spiders. Keep getting lands. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this goes infinite. Takes time, but it does go infinite. Oops. Undo that. Cancel that. Pay with some treasure instead. And then, yeah, 1 tap here. I still want a few more creatures up. There we go. Yeah, supportive parents and Webbers, you just can keep flipping them up and doing the thing over and over. So with double Clutter Cluster in this deck, supportive parents can go wild. Almost forgot about Robotic Mastery because I got so excited about what we were doing. That'd have been a really bad attack into it. Because they just block with a 5/6. Alright, if they don't find a removal spell to disrupt our double web sling combo, we have inevitability wildly on our side. So I'm more than happy to just grind it out safely. Well, there you go. Scorpion Sting. We'll stop that Oh no! Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst. This probably won't prompt a scoop because it's gonna cost us a lot of time on our clock every time we're doing this. So we could time out of the round, getting too silly with it. But I think we're like a turn away from just drop the Webkeeper's win. Now. This is this is the craziest thing I've done. I'm surprised I haven't gotten supportive parents and web combo yet. It's pretty sick. Okay, they are gonna concede. Very kind of them, because they absolutely could have waited it out and had me grind out more of my clock down. It wouldn't have been that bad. We're at 22 minutes on the clock. It would have taken another minute and a half probably, because I would have spent probably next turn going even wider since they got another creature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. But yeah, they're favored on the clock already by like a minute and 20 from all that nonsense. All right. This might be a Scout the City mashup for Vexed bots. That card could have been very scary if it was the first card they played that game. Basically, every creature they cast was a villain. That was the only flyer we saw all game outside of 1/1 tokens, though. Do I really want Scout the City for one single flyer when I already have like Wisecracks, Trail of Teacups, Terrific Team Up that are more flexible? I don't think so. Let's just head back in there. This is very comparable to our one losing hand from round 1. 2 creatures and a bunch of lands. But we did have to mulligan into that hand round 1. So we were down a card and it was nothing but creatures and lands. Sorry, nothing but 2 creatures and all lands. Okay, blow up Demera with an incredible bomb removal spell. Actually not the craziest against our deck here. So that's just destroy a creature, lose 3, exile my grave. Which our deck is fine with. Do that for mana efficiency so I can tap out for Favored Fighter and still not have to deal with that thing. If we're lucky, they exile both players' graveyard for some reason. Nope. Just ours. Oh, the snatchback combo with the Saga. That is disgusting. Yep, that seems very good. They could even pay for the ward on Chizak if they top deck a land here. Well, they probably got us this game. We're already behind in card advantages from flooding a bit. And we're going to get really far behind off them 2-for-1ing us with that removal. I guess it's 2-for-2. They spent the entire Snatchback. They basically turned Snatchback into another removal spell. But it is still quite good. Do I play the Chizak first here, or do I play the Cheering Crowd first? Both are scary enough to prompt removal from them. Chizak has the slightest chance in the world they don't have land 5, so it lives. Because they didn't have it last turn. They played 4 mana for this, then I blew it up, then they didn't play a land that turn, so they'd have to top deck the land right now. Yeah, I think I'd Chizak. Since there's a chance they don't top deck land here. And if they don't top deck the land, Chizak does kill them quick. Okay, unless they have the Hide and Mundanity as well. Okay. Is it still a spider? Nope, just a citizen. Not super relevant, but just to know if I'd need 2 mana or 1 mana on blocks to grow extra arms there. We go ahead and throw the house at Cheering Crowd. Yep. Flying till end of turn. Yeah, I could kill that thing if it weren't for the flying. got a Mayhem card for that. No, they just fully discard Conius because they can't find white. That could be real good for us in the long game. I'm fine with any outcome here. If they have the Scorpion Sting or the Combat Trick, I'm ripping that out of their hand just for grow extra arms, because Chizak doesn't really matter on the board anymore. And if they don't have the trick, then I'm happy to kill the Lifelinker. Okay, they're going to spend the removal elsewhere while they don't have to lose life for it. And we can surveil here. Boy. Not going to surveil in the upkeep. I have some expensive cards I could top deck. Like a Favored Fighter that I would not have been able to afford. I think we still don't surveil on upkeep yet, because I'm going to have to spend the treasure here to surveil again. Which will mean I'll untap, I'll spend 4 and tap this. I'll only have 3 mana up after using it in my upkeep. So yeah, certainly not gonna surveil in the upkeep here, I think. This deck has a lot of 4 mana stuff. Oh boy. Oh boy. If I had the supportive parents to pick up the Chizak, be the dream draw. But it's still pretty dang good. I think we got double Clutter Cluster in like pack 1 as well. It's just the Clutter Cluster deck all day. Woo! They sequenced that very wrong, which is really lucky for me. They could have done that pre-blocks and then just killed both my spider tokens as well. I mean, maybe they would prefer to keep the 1/1 flyers than trade into the 2/1s, but if I were them, I would have pre-combat, not pre-combat, but pre-blocks. Cast it and just got all these spiders off the board, so all I have to deal with is 1 Favored Fighter when I have 1 4/4. Yeah, I guess it's wrong to say that they... It's objectively wrong, because they could have reasons that they really want these 1/1s. And we never had to cast our card that puts a +1/+1 counter on the whole board, so they might not even know that we have something like that. Since we know that we have that, we know like every single creature we have on board could be really, really important soon enough. But they might have something like that that we don't know about, where every one of these little 1/1 flyers is really important. Or could be. Like a Doc Ox Tentacles or something. Give them +4/+4. I've already drawn my only 6 drop. I guess I have a second Clutter Cluster. That would be another 6. But I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, activate. I still have 4 mana up. So I'd be able to cast anything but Diligent Web Keepers and Zan. So anything but 2 cards in the whole deck. Yeah, we surveil again then. Oh, unless I draw Gallant Citizen specifically. Definitely won't be able to double spell with this, but still worth it. Get another creature on the board and still draw my card for turn. Ooh, not bad. I don't remember a discard 1. Like a Heck Dies. Or a Virus Beetle in this set. So I believe I'm good to play this land. Got a second one? Jesus. Alright, it's actually going to be a long one then. I mean, Wisecrack can put them to 1, so maybe not. Wisecrack could absolutely cheese them out here. Whoa, send him to 6/6 too. Sure. Carlo. Not going to Surveil here because I definitely don't have the mana to play anything alongside the Wisecrack. That is an unfortunate draw. All I have to do is find 1 point of damage. I need to find it quick now. They had to top deck removal if they missed this turn. It's not enough. Trades here. This bounces. Everybody else trades. They're still chipping away in favored if I draw that. I can't web sling that, so I won't have anybody left. Is essentially the same as if I drew Favored Fighter, because they're a single point of damage from off, so the only thing that matters is the number of attackers we have versus the number of blockers they have. So we got 1 card closer to Terrific Team Up or Trail of Teacups. Those are our biggest outs, and they're both 4 mana, so we keep surveilling. We play this land because now if we hit the 5-drop, we'll be able to surveil and cast it. The attack all again. Trade, trade, trade. Bounce, get eaten for free. It's just not good. Jesus. The Mayhem card for the Connive as well. It's just gold over there. Did they even draw land? There they did. They've drawn 8 lands this game. They're 27 cards deep. They've drawn 8 lands. Man. Savage Mansion is doing its best, but we are still getting outdrawn by Connive nonsense. And just the ratio of lands to spells. Doesn't kill them. So I don't think I can cast that. I think I die on the crackback if I cast that. Removal spells aren't even outs anymore. Specifically, my second copy of Wisecrack is the only way I win. After they just played 5 million creatures. That's going to be hasting in the sky. Yeah, I'm so dead if I just have 2 reach creatures. I block there. 4 in the sky. Nope, 6 in the sky. It's exact lethal. I block the 4/4 flying vigilance haste. I block the super big vex bots. I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because that's a 2-power creature. Oh my god, the Wisecrack isn't even lethal because of the treat trolley? What the heck? What the heck? Alright, well, we got severely outdrawn that game. That is going to be 1-1 heading into game number 3 of round 2. Alright, we got to work for it today. We are in game number 3 of yet another round here. Game number 3 of round 2. Solid hand here, supportive Paradance combo with his hand and cluster. Web keepers with the cluster as well. This is a keep. We're gonna have to just run out the cluster on 2 though, which is a little awkward, but it'll pay off when we can web it back to hand if they don't have the 2-mana removal in their opener immediately. Double blue, Steel Web Surveyor's the play. That's gonna find their black source probably. Does indeed. Okay. This will be the Zan turn. Having the cluster in hand for later. Sure. Coup the Zan, take a couple damage. You just got a spider down. Go cluster plus parents. No hope of web slinging at that point. But it sets up for the web keepers to be better next turn. If I draw the other cluster, it'll also be good. Most pressure I can put on them. To curve out into damage here, I think it's worth it. Can also play around -3/-3 if they have that with grow extra arms on cluster. Snatch back, sure. Find favored fighter. Get more creatures to run out. 3 web keepers. Which is solid. They're all big enough they kind of need to be dealt with. Especially once they get the +1/+1 counter. Seven mana. 8 off the treasure. I could play Parents and Web Keepers. Still have Grow Extra Arms on specifically Cluster held up. Plays around Robotics Mastery if they put the Mastery on the Surveyor trying to eat the cluster without losing a card. But actually, it won't even be big enough with the Mastery. It would just be a trade, so I don't even know if they want to make that block in the first place. I guess they can multi-block to try to do it, because it doesn't have a good ability there. Oh wait, no, what am I talking about, multi-block? It's a trade already. They can't make it like a good... like a free kill. Additional blocks won't change that at all. Sorry, I'm just kind of sleepwalking my way through the Omenpaths. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd have 2 mana up after surveilling my upkeep. I am probably not going to do that, but I'll put the stop there just in case. Oh boy, look who's back. Oh, he's just a steel web surveyor this game. I'm not sure if our opponent knows they can use our graveyard as well. I mean, it doesn't matter this game, but I think last game we might have had something. Maybe we just haven't had anything in grave because they keep putting them on bottom? I don't know. Is it worth attacking with supportive parents here? So then I think they go Cavero on supportive parents. And then if I top deck a web slinger, I can't do the combo. But I only have 2 web slingers in the deck, Zan and the second clutter cluster. I feel like the odds are small enough that I should just flunge it and push damage. Gonna be the Exile Oblivion Ring on a stick rare. Oh god, it's even worse. It's gain 5 million life and have a bigger blocker than any of our creatures. They're just all great rares. This whole draft has kind of just been our great green curve versus a bunch of great rares so far. Mr. Negative in the modified rare last game, and now this player has Luis and the Oblivion Ring rare and the Graveyard Clone rare. Luis and the Oblivion Ring being way better. Those are the actually painful ones. And they're tremendously painful here. I mean, can't really beat that. It's frustrating. I think this deck was solid. But to get the 3-0 just stolen by Mega Bombs is always tragic. But that's Magic for you. They just get to Cavero Luis. Enters as a 4/4 lifelinker. Oh my god, Cavero Conius is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. They get to Cavero as a copy of Conius, and because it enters as a copy of that, they get to Oblivion Ring again. Cannot make up these kind of just absurd combos. I hit 4 spells in 1 land as well. Awesome. I am not having a good time. We get Chizak, Demera, Team Up, Favored Fighter, and 1 Mountain. The mana to cast stuff after Surveil. Oh my god. Do one tiny break, please, Arena. I don't even know what that break would be at this point. There's kind of nothing we can do about Conius. Like, I can kill it and just lose to a second Conius. Good lord. I'd have 3 up. No, I'd have 4 up now. Just enough to cast everything in the deck except Zan. Well, this is chapter 3 of the saga. I need all my mana up to cast whatever I pick up from grave. This is insane. I mean, I think I'm dead. dead removal for certain. All I can do is like pick up a 6/6, block and kill Conius, go to 2, and then let them just replay Conius, exile my creature again. I guess that's fair enough. We had our own infinite. Just get infinited by the multi-rare Bombo combo. While I'm consistently hitting far more lands than our opponents while constantly surveilling and thinning lands out of our deck. Rough stuff. I feel like they're in a better position if they just let Conius die. But that does work too. Alright, because they had the mana for the ward. It's 4 for Kavero, so 4 for Kavero, 2 for the ward. Yeah, it's just worse for me, I think, if they just let Conius die there. I get to keep the Scorpion Sting for a rainy day. Alright. We're dead. That was just super rough. I mean, fair enough. Kavero plus Conius, Wombo combo, that's just going to be unbeatable. But there was a lot of Flood game 2 and 3 as well. Game 2, we got them 1 damage off of lethal, so that's probably where our best chance to win was. We likely missed a point of damage at some point. If that was the same game that I cast the Favored Fighter pre-Lurking Lizards, well, the Favored Fighter pre-attacking into the Conius, then yeah, that would have been where we could have found that extra damage. Because remember, there was one of those games where we were making an attack where they probably were going to trade with Conius, and if they did, we could cast a Lurking Lizard and then play Favored Fighter. But I opted to play Favored Fighter first to buff my current Lurking Lizard, so that would be bigger on the attack. But then that buff didn't matter. It still wasn't big enough to actually attack it on that board, so if I thought about that a little longer and did that in the opposite order, maybe that was my spot to get the extra damage in, but that also might have been in game 1. Kind of forgetting at this point. The games are blending together a little. Luis was gnarly. That was just a busted game for our opponent. I don't think there's much at all we can do there. Game 2 was the opportunity that we probably missed with a point of damage somewhere. Alright, here we are for game 3. Gotta top deck creatures. We are on the 17 creature build, tons of 2s to draw into. See if we can draw the stuff to go into the Webkeeper's curve here. On the draw against green, white, blue, we really need to do everything in our power to stop them from web slinging and getting a bajillion damage on us early, an extra Gallant Citizen value. So the Lizards is a good blocker here. Scout the city. Serena Bargain Spinner. If they got a rare aura or equipment, we could just die to that. But the commons and uncommons aren't so bad. Just drawing some lands here and one Wisecrack. Not the creatures we needed. Here's Serena, let's see what they got. Yep, that seems about right. Yeah, this hand is far too slow for outracing a giant craft helm. We're just gonna get blown out by that. They just go land, equip here. Oh, it's 5 to equip, so they don't equip it till next turn. But still. Sure, they put it on Serene and I can wisecrack her, but then they just put it on Citizen and they've got a 5/5 against much smaller stuff. Okay. And then that's also a 6/6 flyer with a helm on it. 6/6 flyer with Ward 2. No reach in this hand. Favored Fighter's Treasure Token is not enough for the Wisecrack here. And I have to hold up Wisecrack, I think. And that would mean playing literally nothing. It'd be so awkward. And then again, I mean, I'm Wisecracking essentially a 3/2 flyer. Because I have to Wisecrack the, 6 power thing. When they can just make one that's pretty much exactly as big the turn after anyway. Yeah, they could actually Pastry onto the Aerialist, and these are both identically big with or without the helm. But the helm is so much damage. Do I need to try to race here? I don't even know if I have a chance to race. And if so, what's the best play? Web Keepers? Swing? Just do the best I can. I'm pretty sure this game's just over, but I think the only way this ends in a win is if we somehow cheese in enough damage to outrace them. Even if I immediately just top deck another flying removal spell to be able to deal with the 2 threats that are killing me, I won't have enough to break through the minimum 5/5 blockers that they can have off of the helm in the long run. So I just don't see any outcome where the game going long favors me. Yep. Take 9. And now I can play Fighter Land and still Wisecrack. I guess because that one has Ward, I can't do that. Oh god, because of the Ward, I can't play anything here, can I? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage to our opponent here. If I favored Fighter, 10 damage to our opponent here. They crack back. I Wisecrack, Bargain Spinner, go to 1 or 2. If they don't have their own combat trick, I could Wisecrack, Bargain Spinner, and then find a lethal counter. Then find a lethal counterattack from there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 11, 12, 13 if I use Grow Extra Arms. I guess I could still find 2 turn lethal off Grow Extra Arms. I can't even play Cheering Crowd. We died to the Hexproof trick. Well, we would have died to that however we played it, because we throw Wisecrack at Bargain Spinner if I'm not throwing at the Ward 1, and then they still just Hexproof trick hit me for lethal. We're down to 7. Still dead to one hit in the sky. But they're dead to grow extra arms. If we can get the 3-power creature through. Please, no more creatures. Please, no more creatures. There's no more spells. If they play like one more spell, I think they win. But if they have nothing else to cast here, I think Grow Extra Arms gets there. Just barely. We're dead if they get another turn, period. Yikes. You got me. I mean, this was incredibly close for how busted Bargain Spinner into Helm is. But they got us here. Well, maybe not. Because they do have to lose both their flyers here, so they can't crack back Giant Craft Helm kill us. Oh! Sweet Jesus! Play to your outs. We were never winning that long game. Maximum cheese mode, the Velveeta and the Rotel. Oh my god. Cheesy nonsense. Their deck is quite good. Blue-white modified. No, green-white. So green-white, but with a lot of the blue-white modified synergy. Like Bargain Spinner. And where did it go? Where did their ward? There it is, Wonder Revarialist. Wonder Revarialist as well. They have like the +1/+1 counter synergies with Lunge working on those. And the equipment. Bargain Spinner Helm is just a sick combo. Being able to pick that up, so that's scary. Yeah, so it's green-white with like hybrid blue-white focus stuff. It's a lot of good flyers. This looks like an okay Scout the City matchup. Like, that's not great against Serena, because that only has flying during their turn, and Scout the City's a sorcery. But it helps against Mukti and Wonder Revarialist. It's only 2 flyers we saw. But is there anything that looks terrible here? Don't think so. And no universe am I cutting Grow Extra Arms after that. I guess we'll be on the draw here. Since they lost game 1, so we could just cut a land for Scout the City, and that's not insane. I mean, we've got some cheap mana dorks too. Yeah, I don't mind it. Cut a land, head back in there. Game number 2 of round 3. I really like this hand not having other creatures to play for the Clutter Cluster. And just having like 1 combat check, 1 removal spell, 1 creature. But I really don't think that it's bad enough to mulligan. And we top decked one of the best draws we could hit here, Cheering Crowd. For just 1 very big threat for only 2 mana. Each player is going to get a bajillion mana off it if they want. Scout the City finds the Giant Craft Helm. So this will be another game we need to go as fast as possible. Lurking Lizards is the play, not big enough to block the Cheering Crowd. So we're happy to see that. That's a good draw, because I can play Lizards and the Clutter Cluster. Or Lizards and Grow Extra Arms. I think the Web Sling is too strong to just dump the cluster out here when, if they don't kill Cheering Crowd this turn, we're pretty guaranteed to Web Sling the turn after this. Because the Cheering Crowd gives us the mana that we need to then pick up the Lizards to get a bunch of spiders. Ooh, they're taking the mana here. That means they might be blowing up the Cheering Crowd this turn. They might have to destroy a creature with power 4 or greater. But it could also mean they just have really good stuff to cast. So they start with Gallant Citizen. then play Bargain Spinner. Okay, so let's see what their second best aura or equipment is. They don't have one. I'm very happy to see that. That's fair enough, even if you did not manage to get any aura equipment outside of the Giant Craft Helm. If you have one that powerful, you definitely run the Bargain Spinner. But I would try very hard. Wait a second, I can't use this on web slinging. Well, use it on a favorite fighter. Took me a while to realize that. This mana does empty my mana pool as phases change. Well, it's still a ginormous threat, so I'm still happy with it. My train of thought has been demolished again. Cheering crowd is quite helpful with them helm equips here at this point. Well, that's going to be phenomenal for me. There's a concession from our opponents. That is 2-1 overall for the draft, unfortunately. I do think this deck was good enough to potentially get the 3-0 here. We had a really great curve, tons of creatures, some decent interaction, not great. But I mean, yeah, look at that curve. We didn't draw like that super consistently early, but definitely in that final round, that was one of the big beneficial parts, is that we were constantly hitting the good twos to get us going into these favored fighters and topping things off there. So drew really well in that final round of Magic for sure. But the first couple rounds, we had some awkward, really slow starts. That pulled us back a little bit. I think if it weren't for human error, this was probably a 3-0 run. There's got to be somewhere I missed a point of damage in round 2 to get the 2-1 instead of the 1-2. So that's definitely a big bummer. But yeah, overall, deck did great. The deck is pretty great. I'm really happy with the deck that we ended up and how I drafted. I think it's really just the gameplay that pulled us back. There was a good chunk of human error and some pretty awkward draws as well within that losing round. A lot of lands. And just wombo combo stuff from our opponent with their double rare there. So, is what it is. Sad we could not get the full 3-0 run, but we still drafted a great deck, had some great games of Magic. And I am not unhappy with the deck here. So the prize out is going to be 1,000 gems and 3 packs of Through the Omenpaths on this one. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more on your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.